No, 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 no.
Welcome back. I'm finally back home. Before we left, I put together this toolkit. My thinking was that if I'm going to be away from home for a long time and staying in a house, it's like an Airbnb kind of place, I wanted to take some tools so that I could do some things, maybe find some projects to work on. I had this idea in my head that maybe since we were going to be somewhere for 2 months almost, that I would, I don't know, find a garage sale or a flea market or something and find some project and something to work with. And I didn't do that. So let me just show you the few things that I did use in here. Uh, I did use the tape measure, just more for curiosity's sake than anything else. The house where we were staying had some very curious remodeling choices. So I was measuring some things. By far the most useful tool was the screwdriver. Uh, I used the screwdriver for a lot of things. I made a video when I was down there about trying to use my EDC tools to tighten all the screws on the chairs in the house. And then after I used those, I did get the toolkit out of the car and just used a screwdriver, which obviously worked better than any of the EDC tools for putting in screws. I also used a screwdriver for a bunch of other things around the house we were staying in. I put a plate cover back on an outlet. I put a hinge back on a door where all the screws were like stripped and falling out. I did notice a couple of places around the house where there were screws just sort of sticking out of the wall or out of a window. I don't know if there were things hanging on them at some point, but I did take a screw out of a windowsill that wasn't holding anything, and then I put that in that hinge so at least the door functioned properly. Fixed the curtain rod that was falling down. Um, Screwdrivers are just really handy. Something like this, which is one of these like 6-in-1 tools, by far the most useful tool that I put in this toolkit. Uh, Even though I had a lot of like EDC tools, multi tools, this is just a lot easier to use. So the other tool out of here that I used the most was these snap punches or these spring nail sets, whatever you call them. The floors in one part of this house had some nails that were kind of sticking up. Not a lot. They were just poking up just enough that they would like catch your clothes when you were sitting down or catch your socks, something like that. So my kids helped me use these, and we just went around, and wherever those little nails were sticking up out of that flooring, we just snapped them right down. I didn't pack a hammer in here because I wasn't anticipating hammering on anything. So these worked incredibly well at just smacking down some of those little nails. The other thing I used that I was really not expecting to need was this little tiny Stanley plane. It's a Stanley 12101. One of the doors in the house we were staying in was sticking, the back doors, really badly. Like it was very difficult to open. The kids could not pull the door open because it stuck so much. The gap under the door was big enough that I was able to open the door a little, fit this plane underneath the edge of the door, and just shave a little tiny bit off of that piece of trim that had been nailed to the door so that it closed much more easily uh, without leaving any gap there for bugs or anything to get in. Um, so the plane came in very handy. So then the kids could go in and out the back door to the backyard. I think that's all the tools that I really used. There was one thing though that I needed that I did not have in my toolkit, and that was any type of hex bits or Allen wrench. The chairs that I was trying to tighten up or fix so that they were a little more sturdy, the main bolts in those needed a Allen wrench, and I did not have any. I didn't have any hex bits or my screwdriver or any driver. I didn't have any on my EDC tools. I had nothing that could tighten those screws. So I had noticed at this Airbnb that there was quite a few pieces of new furniture when we got there. There was some TV stands that were very new. The chairs looked pretty new. They were, all the screws and stuff weren't really tightened in them. And in one of the drawers, there was some painting supplies because the owners had repainted some of this shortly before we got in there, I think, or fairly recently. So I went digging around, thinking, well, if they left painting supplies, maybe they left other things. And sure enough, I found in a closet a bag with all of these spare parts to the TV cabinet or the TV stand, as well as a bunch of spare parts to the beds, and a couple of these Allen wrenches in one of those bags. And here's a good tip for you all to keep in mind. Most of the do-it-yourself, build it at home furniture, things that you'll buy, bookshelves and desks and chairs and stuff where you take it home and put the pieces together, most of those have just a few sizes of Allen wrenches that are fairly standard across all of those types of furniture kits. There's not like each one comes with its own different size. So I found that bag. There were 3 or 4 Allen wrenches in there. There's really just 2 sizes, and one of them fit the bolts on the chairs. So I was able to use that to tighten the chairs up so that they weren't loose and wobbly, and I didn't feel like the chairs were going to fall apart when I sat on them. This toolkit was very useful. There were some things that I probably didn't need in here, some things that were definitely very useful, and some things that I need to throw in here that I need to add. I don't plan on taking any 2-month-long trips ever again, but in the case that I do, or go on any sort of longer vacation where I think I might be bored or sitting around, this is something to put together. Maybe you guys have something like this, or want to put something like this together. Let me know if you guys have any other thoughts about a toolkit or some DIY tools to take with you when you're traveling away from home. Think it's a good idea, silly idea? Let me know what you think. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you next time.